Hey guys, I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit. Camera angle. There we go. That's better. I've got a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows in it. It's actually coffee with chocolate added and marshmallows. That's my breakfast. Mm, good stuff. Folgers. I don't do the expensive coffee. Hello to the 15 of you watching. I appreciate you being here. Thank you to the one who gave me a thumbs up. I like that. Move this over a little bit. It takes a few seconds. It's a little bit of a delayed reaction. There we go. We can see the front of the house better now. I've, I've got a front porch, a wall on my front porch between my pillars. It has a top rail on it. The top rail on the wall is cement. And it's an old 1920s house. So it's a little bit uneven. A lot of it uneven. The foundation on this place is kind of sinking. So I've got my camera propped on a little piece of wood. This is really good weather for hot chocolate, you guys. It's probably in the low 70s. There's just barely even a breeze. The flags are barely moving. It's overcast. I can sort of see the sun wants to peek through, but it isn't. It's been raining off and on. If you've been watching this process, you can appreciate how much work he's gotten done. It has taken a long time. And I think the guy that's up there now is the one who hates being up on ladders. I think this is our gentleman who doesn't like being high up in the air. Yeah, definitely him. He has broken down some barriers of fear in order to go up that high on that ladder. So big props to him. I don't think he's moved that ladder yet by himself. Neighbors are yelling at her dogs. And there's a couple of neighbors over there. They've got like 3 dogs. They yell at their dogs a lot. Moving around here. I just moved myself so I'm facing the windows. I was sitting with my laptop facing away from the windows, but now I'm looking in that direction. Gotta move the phone closer to me. Sorry, guys. There we go. Wow, that happened fast. And those seeds. Oh, I don't know if I trust him with that ladder. Look at that window. He's so close to it. Oh, gee, come on now. Don't bash the window. Okay, good. Good, good. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. Okay, sitting here on my front porch with my laptop, just talking to myself, right? I don't want to put my computer screen in front of you all. I do, Seeds. I do, I really do. I've actually spent some time in Gisenyi, Rwanda, and Kigali, and up in the rainforest. Can't remember the name of the town we went to up in the rainforest. But I really did enjoy the real African village life. It was obviously difficult, just because some of the places where we went didn't have electricity. We were working with orphans in Gisenyi, and their situations were difficult. But yeah, I do enjoy that. Actually, at one point, I saw myself living in East Africa about half the year, but that didn't end up happening. Thank you for the like, Seeds. Appreciate that. Oh, good. I'll look that up. I'll look that up later. Now, my husband and I had a friend in Gisenyi, Rwanda, and he was an orphan, although his mother was still alive, but he was in an orphanage for years. And when he came out, he was pretty severely disabled. That's how he was when he went into the orphanage, so he came out that way too. And he went to the market over in Congo. Oh, there's a mosquito on my keyboard. Ew, it's looking for me. It landed on my hand. I wonder if I killed it. I tried to. Anyway, so he came out of the, thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. He came out of the orphanage and they gave him some cash. And they sent him out into the world, and he had just very few choices, being a disabled young man in an African village. Actually, Gisenyi is a pretty good sized city. And he went over into Congo and he bought a large piece of fabric. And he brought it back over to Rwanda, and he cut it into pieces, and he sold it in the market that day, and he doubled his money. So the next day he went back into Congo, bought more fabric, cut it up into pieces, brought it back into the market in Gisenyi, doubled his money, and now he is running a nonprofit for disabled people, and he's recognized by the Rwandan government. He's expanded into having a preschool for disabled children. He travels around the world. He visited me and my husband when we were in California. He stayed with us. And he and I did presentations together. And, oh gosh, he's just an amazing, amazing man. He really is. That is not my house being painted. That is our neighbor's house. And those windows were put in last week. They took out an oval window that was in, and they added 3 different windows. They've actually replaced all of the windows in the house, but I don't think they cut new holes and put in new windows in places where there hadn't already been windows. But this particular place they did. So none of those windows up there open. And it's going to get hot in there. The other windows are double hung. They all open, at least part way. I'm just looking at the different windows. There's different styles. The ones upstairs are a different style than the ones downstairs. I'll show you with the camera. Just move it. Oh gosh, I don't want to lose him. Let me zoom out. I'll do that. If you can tell, the windows upstairs have a larger, lower window than they do the upper one, so they can only open so far. The ones downstairs are about 50-50. That's interesting. That's fine. Nobody's gonna care, right? The trim at the top of that center window looks like they went right over it with the siding. I feel like that needs to be white if they need a piece of trim up there on the top. And the gentleman that's up on the ladder now, he hates ladders. I can tell you that right now. He started going up the ladder yesterday, and he was not enjoying it. I appreciate there are 42 people in here. Thank you to the 6 of you that have given me a thumbs up. I do appreciate that. If you enjoy watching paint dry, I'll tell you what, it is an absolutely crime-free activity. I'm hoping later today to go down to Thunder Valley and go to the Bristol Dragway. I think they have drag races going on. I thought, based on signage, that it was a BTE World Foot Brake Challenge, but I think it's something called Fall. I don't know, it's something Fall Follies, or I don't know what it is. It's some kind of drag racing. I doubt if I'll go live, but I will be posting videos later this evening. I generally start posting 5 o'clock Pacific time. I'm on the East Coast, but my best time to drop videos is between 5 and 9 p.m. Pacific. I don't know why. 6 thumbs up. Thank you, you guys. 36 people watching paint dry with me. It's a morally correct activity. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. See, he's going to step down now in a second, and he's just not comfortable on that ladder. The poor guy. He's probably making good money. At least I hope he is. I really do hope he is, because, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to zoom back in on him and get away from the other windows. There we go. Dee, if I see him crash on his head, I will end the live stream immediately and call 911. I hope it doesn't come to that. That would be horrible. That's his worst nightmare, I'll guarantee you. 51 people watching paint dry with me. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Dee, is that car in the picture on your thumbnail there? Is that, or not thumbnail, on your profile picture, is that your car, or is that just a car you would love to have? Get a fireman net. Yeah, I'll just materialize one and just rush over there and catch him. Your car, what kind of car is it? I can't tell from the little tiny picture. You just bounced from my number 2 commenter to my number 1, Dee. Okay, that's a very expensive package. Do you do any bracket racing with it? M1 Raceway. Oh, in Michigan. Okay. Now, I've been to a raceway in Michigan for drag races. I'm just trying to think of what it's called. I go to so many drag races. I forget the name of the dragways as I move around the country. I know Belrose is in Louisiana. Milan. That's not ringing a bell to me. Maybe I'll see you at a drag race in Michigan sometime. I follow. Actually, I'm almost always just at motorcycle drag races, but sometimes they bring in cars. Where I see the, excuse me, where I see DER is here in Bristol at the Thunder Valley race, Bristol Dragway. That's where I see the cars and trucks racing. If you want to see a beautiful, I think it's a Corvette, beautiful Corvette, go on to Google machine and type in, oh, he's going to have to do a better job in that corner. There's a little tiny bit of white showing from the caulking that they put on. He's going to have to actually go over there to paint that white. Milan Dragway. I'll ask my husband if he ever goes there, but if it's not motorcycle drags, he doesn't go. But DER comes here to Bristol. They go to Thunder Valley, and I see a lot of fun stuff. But Google, write it down, Google Fresno, California, 19-year-olds arrested for street racing. One of the cars is a beautiful red Corvette. Two 19-year-old boys. I don't know if they're twins or if they're just very entitled friends. I don't know what the other car was. Another red car. And I only I only see the color. I don't really know much about cars. But the boys got hauled away in handcuffs. They were racing up and down the highways and the interstate in these cars, passing on the right. And, they were in a road race, 19 years old, with these so expensive machines. And I really feel like if mommy and daddy are going to get you something like that, you should go to some kind of drag racing place, like an actual drag strip. Spend the $30 or whatever it is to enter your vehicle and go down the track and see how good you are, on the tree. See how good your control is. Of course, with bracket racing, there's so much involved in it. Good for you. Nice to meet another drag racer. Yesterday, somebody was in my chat who is was just in my hometown the other day, way over on the West Coast. That was fun to see. Can't remember the exact name, but his name was something like Money Can't Buy Happiness. But I tried to look him up on YouTube and I couldn't find his channel or her channel. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. 53 people watching. Awesome. Thank you to the 7 of you who have given a thumbs up. I'm glad you enjoy watching paint dry. I think that's really cool. Need money to live. Absolutely, God's bow. We do need money to live. And while money can't buy happiness, it certainly does make life a lot easier. Hey, wise Randolph. Voices carry here. He can hear me talking, I think. My painting expert over there. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. Yeah, God's bow, we definitely need money to live. Money is a lot easier I mean, life is a lot easier when you have money. That's just a fact. And I Am Seeds, she was chatting earlier. Hey, Chuck. Thank you for saying hi. Hi, right back at you. I Am Seeds documents life in an African village. And I'll tell you, that's a place where money is not easy to come by. You work hard for your money in most African villages. Someday I'll tell the story about being in a remote African village. They didn't have power. They didn't have water. They were in a rainforest, so they had the ability to have water, but they had no collection. So we set up a water catchment system for them so they could at least have water when it wasn't raining, so they wouldn't have to just all have buckets outside their houses to have the water they needed to live. Money can't buy happiness, but our money helped give them a secure source of water, which means a lot to those people. I forget the name of the village. Hey, Angry Man, nice to see you in the chat. Very nice. Just got rid of Angry Man. Don't need that kind of negativity in the chat. Now, Angry Man can make all the comments he wants to, and nobody can see them but him, and he'll be thrilled. That's awesome. He can giggle. Hey, Scott, are you here to watch paint dry with us? The way he's reaching over is not giving me confidence. I'm thinking there's going to be some gray on that white trim, and he's going to have to go repaint that. And I'm sitting here on my covered porch. Hello from British Columbia. Hey, Scott. Love British Columbia. I visited British Columbia once for a very, very, very short period of time. I just wanted to be able to say I'd been to Canada. We happened to be riding our motorcycles over in northern Washington. So we headed up. And I think that when I visited Canada, that made 19 countries that I had visited. That was a fun trip. 6,500 miles I put on my motorcycle. Yeah, it was nice. Talked to my butt about how nice it was. I was, after like, what do I want to think? After 120 miles, my butt starts to scream. And it goes numb at some point because, we were riding like 400 miles a day. So, yeah, I would say it was a beautiful ride. We left the California Central Coast, went up to our granddaughter's first birthday party, and then headed east, met up with a friend that I met on Facebook. I don't know, somebody I met online, and he rode with us for the day. It's a house he's painting, Scott. This house got all new windows installed last week, all around the whole house. And where he's painting right now, there was an oval window above, on the second floor. There was just an oval window right there. So they cut holes in the walls, and they placed those 3 windows, which are not centered, and it drives a lot of people crazy, including my husband, who's an engineer. But there's a closet to the left in that room. So they wanted the windows centered in the room, and it wasn't as important to them that they be centered on the outside. I think a piece of art hanging to the left, some kind of metal art, would help maybe center things. I mean, make it just kind of balance, I should say, not center. They'll never be centered. But for anyone doing that, if you're looking at a way to have a big view, because they have a very nice view from there. I'm trying to think of what they look at. I think they just look at houses. But anyway, you can actually center a window on the outside and then make it appear centered on the inside with curtains. You can hang curtains down and it'll make it appear to be centered on the inside. So there is a way to do that. It's a design secret, a little tip that they didn't consider. So now looking at it, do you guys agree that there needs to be a piece of white molding across the top of that center window? I also feel like there's some interesting staining. And maybe it's just because the paint hasn't completely dried yet, but it doesn't look to the left and down below that left window. There's a little, like a drip almost going down. It's hard to see really on the screen. I hope that dries because the people that own that house are meticulous. They have done so much work. I'm going to zoom out. There was no landscaping. There was no fence. All it was grass outside. And I don't remember if they put the new roof on it or if the people who sold it put the new roof on it, but that new roof is about a year old. The chimney has been rehabilitated and then, excuse me, and then they put plaster on it. It looks beautiful. The fence looks nice. Then they spent thousands of dollars on landscaping. I'm going to move the camera again. Oh, it's so wobbly. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make it stable. Oh, it doesn't want to move. My phone stand is really old, but they spent thousands on that, the plants. They've done so much work. It's beautiful. They did put in, there's an easement in front of the house. What you've got is you've got that fence in the front, then you've got a sidewalk, and you've got an easement. And the easement is obviously for the city, for utilities and such. They put thousands of dollars worth of plants just in the easement. They've got those trees. They actually have to move my laptop. They've got, now I gotta zoom out again. They've got 5, looks like cedar trees, or is it 4? 4 cedar trees across the front. Those were approximately $200 trees each. Then they've got, or they had magnolias. They had 4 or 5 magnolia trees, and those were $200 each. And I think all of those died last winter. The landscaping went in almost a year ago, like almost a year ago to the day. But the magnolia trees were expensive and they died. But you really couldn't have more than 1 magnolia tree there because of how big they get, and they had 4 or 5 planted. Yes, Anonymous, he is terrified of heights. That ladder has him so freaked out. Hey, Derek, I hope you had a good night at work. Good morning. Yeah, that is not a joke. This is his 2nd day on the ladder, and the first day on the ladder, he didn't really even know how to go up and down yet. That was yesterday, so yeah, he's still learning the ladder. Or maybe he fell at some point as a child, and this is his, return to, what would you call that? Face your fears. Derek, isn't it looking nice? I'll turn the camera just a little bit. We don't need to look at the landscaping anymore. Just wanted to show you guys, they spent a ton of money on that house. They have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on that house. The woman who lives there, she has a lady who comes and her van is full of plants. She shows up and they work outside. No, Scott, no blame at all. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. And the other guy just sent him up the ladder. The other guy was on the ladder all day, but he was going up and down like 100 times. It was crazy. Anonymous, your comment about the possibility of salt, there is a gutter there, and it does drain. So I don't think so. Nothing else dies from salt around here. I mean, there's no death from salt. It's pretty crazy. We get so much rain, it cleans the soil pretty quickly, but the salt would have been in the street. It would have gone into the drainage system. But I think probably they just weren't planted soon enough to develop a really good root system. And I don't think they have a way to water everything. They didn't put in irrigation. So it's possible they died. Maybe they didn't die in winter. Maybe they died in summer, in spring, on a hot day in spring. Different view, yes. I'm gonna move this. We don't need to see so much street. Pardon me. I have a very old phone stand that I found. We moved into my mom's house. We bought it from her when she moved into assisted living, and I found this phone stand here. It's very old. They may have gotten dehydrated, Anonymous. That is very possible because I don't see them outside watering much, at least not out on that easement out front. I've seen her in the yard with the hose. She's got roses. She's got really nice plants. I'd love to go over and talk to her and find out. I have never met her. But she does water her roses, but I never saw her water. Not that she never did. She may have had a hose out there doing a real slow drip on her plants, but I never saw it. And it could be that magnolias need a lot of water when they're young, and she just wasn't giving that to them. Yeah, emotionally speaking, he's in trouble. I don't think he sees if you guys look at that far right window, that Harley had a nice sound system. I don't like riding with Harley riders who blast the music. I prefer the quiet. No, Scott, he didn't paint the whole house. What he painted was where they had redone the siding. They put up yellow siding, and then they did a lot of caulking when they put the windows in. So he had to paint the caulking and the siding. Now, up above that right window, just up a few inches and to the right, you see a little white spot. That is not your screen. That's actually caulking that didn't get painted. He's going to have to paint that. If you go back, Scott, you can look at the picture on the thumbnail for this video, and that shows you kind of what he was painting with. You see it, Anonymous? Yeah, Scott, you see it too? I don't know if he's going to see that because I'm at a different angle, you guys. I'm peeping from across the street. He's peeping from down below. Yeah, he's got to gain his confidence on that ladder. And you don't want to be overly confident. I have slipped on those extension ladders and skinned the crap out of my shins. I know it hurts to even think about it. My husband put one up in our driveway. Didn't tell me what he was doing. He went up on the roof. When he started climbing the ladder, the bottom slipped out and he almost fell. What would he have been up about? Trying to think where he was. It was about 8 feet, and he almost landed on our asphalt driveway. Or is it concrete? Can you look? Maybe it's concrete. Anyway, he almost landed in our driveway. And because the ladder, I said, why didn't you tell me? I would have put my foot on the bottom of the ladder and held it for you. Almost lost my husband that day. He does things that scare the crap out of me, you guys. Oh, Scott, that hurts. That just hurts. We had I wouldn't call him a friend. We weren't enemies, but we were acquaintances. We went to church together. Oh, he was a roofer. He fell off the roof and died. Oh, geez, Scott, what'd you land on or in? If you landed in bushes, maybe you'd be better off. You'd be poked. You jump out of perfectly good airplanes, Anonymous? Oh gosh, I don't. I'm not a thrill seeker. I ride a motorcycle. I ride horses in the dirt. Okay, well, better than like falling on that metal fence across the street. You see those spikes? Those will gut you. You're you're right, Anonymous. No, he's terrified. He's holding on really well. Reglazing the window. My gosh. Dang. Oof. Did you break any ribs? Yeah, Anonymous. I've got family in the military, and none of them have ever jumped out of an airplane. They got desk jobs. They're in the Air Force. All of them. None of them have ever jumped out of an airplane. Yeah, jumping out of airplanes tends to beat up your body. So Scott, broken windows, broken ribs. Uh, I've got another friend who fell off a roof. He's a handyman, and he broke his hip. He could barely walk. Like, he's an old man now. He can barely walk. And Anonymous, dang man, jumping out of airplanes. Shoot. We had a riding buddy when we were riding across. We left Milwaukee in the morning. We were heading west on the bikes, heading back toward California. And we happened to be moving in toward Deadwood during the Sturgis rally. And we didn't plan it that way, but we just happened to be heading back toward California through South Dakota at the time of Sturgis. So there were a ton of motorcycles on the road, in the hotels, everywhere. So we get to our hotel. We were just riding with the one guy at that point. And we get there and we checked into our room. Well, we didn't check in. I mean, we went to the desk and we got our key card, and we were assured we had a room. And we had 2 queen-size beds. So the guy that we'd been riding with, he gets up there to get his room, and the man says, "Oh, we don't have a room for you. The couple that are in it, they decided to stay an extra night." So he's standing there, and he told my husband, he says, "They don't have a room for me." Well, there were no rooms within 400 miles of Sturgis, and we had already ridden 400 miles that day. So my husband asked me, would it be okay if we gave him the other queen bed in the room? I said, yeah, that's fine, no problem. So he stayed with us that night in the hotel. And the next morning we were heading further west, and we were going to be going near, but my husband and I were going to try to ride around and away from Sturgis. We didn't want to be part of that. It was the week before Sturgis, but it was just as insane as the week of Sturgis, trust me. So in the morning before we took off, he said, "Hey, I'm going to my brother's cabin in, I think it was Rapid City." And he says, "Do you guys want to stay there?" Because his brother and his wife, they took their kids and they went up to the lakes in, I think, Michigan. They went fishing and camping. They didn't want to be in town for the 2 weeks around Sturgis, 3 weeks around Sturgis. So we kind of looked at each other and thought, well, we weren't planning on going to Sturgis, but yeah, we could go. So we ended up staying in his brother's log cabin for, I think, 2 nights, maybe 3 nights. The only bad part about it was it had a dirt/gravel driveway that didn't get a lot of maintenance. And it was like a little housing community, so it was a road/driveway. Had a lot of those deep crevices in it. Ooh, he almost tripped. Oh my gosh, trip going up a ladder is just as bad as tripping going down. So he says he's on the phone with his brother getting directions. He'd never been to his brother's house before. And I hear him talking, and he says, "Okay, so turn onto the gravel road." And my heart just sank, because I hate riding my Harley on dirt / gravel roads. And this was in the hills. It wasn't a flat road. Well, they had been dumping gravel on this road for years trying to fix the problem. If you know anything about roads, dumping gravel doesn't fix anything. It just makes it different. Anyway, my husband says, it's okay if it's bad, I'll ride your bike in and out, and you can just either walk in or ride on the back of my bike. And I said, no, it's my bike. I rode it here. I had already ridden, gosh, what, close to 4,000 miles at that point, maybe 4,000 miles. It's like, no, I can do it. I just hate it. You know how sometimes you have to do things you hate? So he went in first. I don't remember the guy we were staying with. I don't remember when he went in. And I rode down, got all the way down to his house. Now at his house, his brother and sister-in-law had dumped about 4 inches of gravel in their driveway. So that was actually worse because I had to turn into it. I had to turn right into this thick gravel mosh pit that wanted to eat my bike. I got it. I got in. I put the kickstand down. I got in the house, I relaxed, and then we rode out, in and out, in and out, in and out, because we were there for a few days. And I never did drop my bike. Actually, I'm trying to think what bike I was on. I was on my Super Glide. Okay, so I got through. I would have been better on on a dirt bike or something. A new CVO. I don't think a chopper could have handled, depending on the rake, I don't think a chopper could have handled that driveway. I'm just trying to think. It would have been so squirrely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I haven't ridden in a few years. We've got 6 Harleys right now. Trying to think of what condition they're in. One doesn't have a motor. It's being fixed down in Florida. We're going to go down and pick it up at some point. Oh no, he's going to trailer the bike down and have that guy put the motor in it, and I think he's going to go pick it up after it's been seasoned or whatever. The guy's got to ride it for so many miles to get the new motor, all the kinks worked out. And then, let's see, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. That's the bike I love the most. It's a Dyna Wide Glide. It's an amazing bike. It's gorgeous. Super good ride. I did one trip on that bike where I put about 3,800 miles on it. I don't remember exactly. That was a nice trip. Had my teenage daughter with us. That was fun. Anyway, so that one doesn't have a motor. There's one that's up on the stand that just needs an oil change and new plugs and all that. That's not on me. That's him. Then he's got a race Harley. It's oh gosh, what is it? I don't even know what it is. It's not a Buell, but it's the other one that they don't make anymore. They only made it for a few years. It's really fast. It's a drag bike. And then we have 2 project bikes that were given to me. I had a client I used to take care of. Oh, cool. So you rode almost as far as we did. Good deal. So the CVO, what is it? Just the positioning that you hate, Anonymous? Because I didn't like my Super Glide because my body was in a different position. I had mini apes on it, like 8-inch apes, and the other bike I was on had like 11-inch apes, and it made a huge difference in my back. Plus, I didn't have forward pegs, so I wasn't able to really kind of kick back and relax while I was riding. I had mid pegs, and then I had a crash bar, so I was able to put my feet up on the crash bars, but pegs would have been nice. It had, it was just a Super Glide, but my husband put bags on it because when we traveled, obviously you want to have saddlebags. And then I had him put a windshield on it because I can't stand riding in the wind. I only weigh about 120 pounds and, 85 miles an hour, 80 to 85 miles an hour. It's just kind of harder to hold on with all that wind pushing against me. The handlebars, yeah. Yeah, the positioning, the handlebars, the pegs, the seat. I was on a stock seat on my Super Glide. I needed to spend the money and get a Corbin seat, and I didn't because I'm cheap. And my butt, that's why I lost it at about 120 miles. Then I had to wait till I think about 180 miles where my butt just went numb. And after that it was okay. But there's 60 miles of pain And it's not like labor pain where it comes and goes. It's 60 straight miles of pain. And I've got a girlfriend. She'll ride 1,000 miles, no problem. She just, she just does Ironman stuff. She's amazing. I also got, for one trip, my husband bought me a throttle rocker that made a huge difference in how tired my arm got. I was able to just use the palm of my hand to operate the throttle. That was nice. So he's calling. He hasn't seen that spot. Also, if you look at the window in the middle, I'm going to zoom in again, guys. I think that window in the middle has a smear of silicone on it. So he's talking to his buddy. You know, a good person would go over there and say, I'm sorry, a good Karen would go over there and say, you missed a spot. They're going to have to come back. If that's silicone on that window, they're going to have to come back and scrape it. And they're going to have to paint that a little bit if the homeowners notice it. Mustang seats? I didn't know that. That's obviously a company I haven't heard of. We had Corbin because we were in California. Is Mustang I mean, I could just like ride to them and get fitted for a seat. It would have only taken me a couple of hours back when we lived in California to ride up to Corbin and get a seat fit for me. I'm going to let that poor young man figure it out, you guys. I'm not going to be that person. I sure do like that house. Now, the only thing I would do differently is I would paint the chimney white. It's an off-white right now. You can't tell by looking at it, but with all those white windows, because the windows before, I think they were not white. I think they were an old white, like dirty white. Now they're that bright white plastic. Oh gosh. I think we're done, you guys. The paint is dry. It hasn't started raining yet. He has to figure out that one spot. And actually though, I'm looking at the color. They got it color matched and it's not the same color. That's not their fault. They took it down and they got it color matched. They took a piece of that plastic and it's just slightly darker than the rest. That piece that looks like a tail, just right by the ladder. Let me see. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between rung 5 and 6 on the ladder, there's that. Hey, Fody. That line, that's not changed color since I've been looking at it, so it's not a matter of it needs to dry. They need, oh gosh, if they have to repaint that because the color was off. I feel like the color is off, you guys. You can kind of see it too, where he just moved the ladder. There are 2 of the, okay, he's got to lower that ladder without smashing his fingers. I hate those extension ladders. I mean, I like them as a tool, but I don't like what they do to me. Yeah, they're gonna have to repaint that. That sucks. Where he just placed the ladder, there are 2 strips that need to be repainted. They're just lighter than the rest, which is weird. Maybe that's the original siding and they just didn't paint it because it was all, yeah, I think that's original siding. Oh my gosh, you guys, the mystery. And then they still need to put a piece of something white above that center window, and they did a really crappy job of painting the gray paint around that window. You can't see it here. I can see it better with my eyes. Okay, so he's painting that. This is going to be like cutting your own bangs. He's going to do a little here, a little there, try to clean it up, and he's going to end up coming back and doing a little more, a little more. I don't know, you guys. I don't have a lot of confidence in this. So sometimes watching paint dry is important because it's going to dry a different color. 16 thumbs up. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Okay, so he's painting that little tail I've been looking at. That's good. You guys. Well, what time is it? It's 10:16 on the East Coast. My neighbor came out in her pajamas a little bit ago and took the trash out. She had to have seen me sitting here. She pretended like she didn't, though. Sitting here with my computer in front of me. Oh boy, I've got my hand over my mouth so my voice doesn't carry. She has nice pajamas. They looked cozy. They looked like sweats, but they also kind of looked like pajamas. They might have been bamboo now that I think about it. They looked real nice. Bamboo is nice. My daughter gave me bamboo pajama bottoms. Oh my gosh, they're so wonderful. If you want to make somebody happy, buy them good quality bamboo pajamas. An ambulance just drove by. You guys didn't get to see it. I'll zoom out a little bit. Let's see what's going on. You guys see how it's darker there? That chunk where the windows are is just darker than the rest of it. I don't know, you guys. It's not my project. I gotta let it go, right? Because gotta let it go. Let it go, let it go. Well, the good news is the owners won't be going up on a ladder and doing a real close inspection. But the bad news is you don't have to go up close and do an inspection to see some of that stuff that's wrong. I don't know. That top, man, they need to get a piece of molding for that top of that square window. It just looks unfinished. Maybe they had to order it. I don't know, you guys. There's some sloppy paint work on there. Hey, roller skater Texas girl. It is a very cool 100-year-old house. This whole neighborhood has really cool houses in it. Our house is a one-story cottage. Brick, built in the 1920s. It needs some foundation work done on it. Got some sagging here and there. Not real impressed with that. But the neighborhood is full of 100-plus-year-old houses. Now, right next to that house is a terrible house. It's not a terrible house. It's a house in terrible condition, I should say. And right next to us is also a house in terrible condition. Ours needs a paint job, but I also need to, what's it called when you redo the, oh gosh, I want to call it cement in between the bricks. Oh God, what's it called? There's a term for it. I need to redo that on some of our bricks. I need to scrape it all out and get a pastry bag and squirt in new mortar. Yes, roller skater Texas girl, new mortar. And it's called I want to say it's not piping. I know what that is. That's doing cake stuff. But there's a term for when you put in new mortar, you have to scrape out the old stuff because it blew out. Ours blew out. Before they sold this house, they painted over all the bad stuff. No, it's not grouting. That would definitely be tile. This is a brick house. But there's a term for when you put new mortar in between the bricks. And it's, I can't think of what it is. If I saw it, I would know. Something ing. Yes, Kudnap. Have you been watching over the days you've seen this? Because I'm going to do a playlist of all of this, starting with the first day that I noticed. I spent like 2 days in my house listening to just hammers going bang, bang, bang. And I thought the house next to us had work going on. I was so happy because their house is falling apart. We call it the melting house. It's just melting back into the Tennessee forest, it seems like. But it turns out they were replacing all the windows on the house across the street. So when I finally heard the saws and all that, and I came out and I brought my dog out. She uses the front lawn as her toilet. And I noticed what they were doing. And I thought, oh man, I want to watch that. But I wanted to watch it from inside my house where it's comfortable because it was hot. It's not hot today. So I put my phone out and went live. And I watched it on my computer from my living room. Oh, this guy, it's a never ending. He's just going to have to get a roller. He can't do that with a brush. You guys, I feel bad for him. He didn't look as scared when he came off the ladder that last time. Kudnap, he's terrified is what he is. He's afraid of heights. He's afraid of ladders, I'll say that. Maybe not heights, but he's definitely afraid of ladders. He doesn't have confidence. I don't know if it's because he's fallen or he's just heard, or it's just an instinct to be terrified of heights. He's checking that ladder out, making sure it's on a solid foundation, which is super smart. 11 people watching. Thanks, you guys. Hey, Kudnap, thanks for commenting. I think it's the first time you've done that. Thank you. There is a second guy that's been there, but that guy was up and down that ladder by himself for days and days and days. Monday, he said, you're going up. He went to the store and bought the paint and told that guy, you got to start painting. And that guy had to crawl up that ladder. And there is work going on inside the house as well. So his partner may be inside the house doing the work in there because they had to, they had to cut into the walls, and they've got to do some repair work on probably the plaster. I don't know. I assume they have lath and plaster like we do in our house. I guess they could have drywall, but they still have repair work to do in there. They had to do the trim around the windows and all. And dust. I saw somebody dusting yesterday in the window. Try not to look in the window. I just happened to be looking that way. Okay, guys, I am going to cut this live stream off because I feel like we've done all the paint drying watching we can do for today. I do feel like there's going to be some issues with the color. I feel like they might have to paint that whole wall to match it to the siding. Or take the paint back and get a better color match, because the color match they got is just slightly darker. You've got that siding, it's oxidized over time. So they just didn't get a good reading on it. It's just a little too dark. Oh. Hey, roller skater, have a blessed day. Thank you. All right, you guys, you take care of yourselves. Be safe. God bless you. Bye-bye.